MultiCast, EposVox MultiCast. Whether you call it multi-streaming, multicasting, simulcasting, or just blasting, Twitch now officially supports it through their terms of service, partner, and affiliate contracts. And if that was keeping you from doing it, now's the time to reach more people by sending your stream to multiple different streaming platforms at the same time. This is the ultimate guide to multi-streaming. There are two primary paths you can go down for this process. The first is to stream to different websites from your computer directly, and the second is to go with a relay service. Multicasting, multi-streaming, whatever, from your computer means using a plugin, which I'll walk you through in a moment, to push your feed to YouTube, Twitch, Trovo, and so on at the same time from your dedicated computer. This has many benefits, giving you complete control over your quality and settings for each platform and when each stream starts or stops. Doing the simulcast yourself is especially important if you plan on streaming to YouTube, as YouTube streams benefit from newer encoders like HEVC and AV1 and higher resolutions and bit rates to provide best-in-class quality over other sites. Video here-ish. The downside is that you will need the extra upload bandwidth for these additional streams, and they will cost you added encoding performance, which can be a problem on single PC setups. GPU encoding like NVIDIA NVENC, Intel QuickSync, and AMD AMF can help minimize this impact, but it's still potentially a problem for those without dedicated stream PCs. Hardware like AMD's upcoming MA35D encoder card that I covered over here will make this a lot easier for people, but not everyone will have access to it. Video linked below. Let's walk you through how to set up the single point from your computer way of multicasting first. All right, so to use the multiple RTMP outputs plugin, you go to the OBS resources page, linked in the description, click go to download. This is gonna take you to the GitHub page. A lot of it's gonna be in Japanese. Do not stress out. Just scroll down and find the installer for your operating system. So Windows installer for Windows, Mac for Mac, Linux for Linux, whatever, and install the plugin for your operating system. I'm gonna go ahead and install it here on Mac. After you've installed that and relaunched OBS, you should have a multiple outputs dock in your window here. If you don't, go to Docs and choose multiple output. If you still don't see it, you installed the plugin wrong, start over. This is the plugin window that allows you to add extra streaming outputs aside from the one built into OBS. So speaking of the one built into OBS, the strategy that comes highly recommended by myself and probably everyone else would be to use the OBS specific output for YouTube, because YouTube benefits from newer codecs, which are video encoders that compress your video, do all the magic and stuff like that, for HEVC and AV1. I have whole videos dedicated to this. YouTube benefits from that. And the only way to really do that is using the output specifically built into OBS here. You also get access to the chat docs, the stream manager, and things like that, which are a little more annoying to integrate directly into OBS without signing into YouTube. So go to settings, stream, choose YouTube RTMPS here from the server list or service list, and then log in with your account. If it doesn't automatically pop up the docs for you, under docs, you will now have a chat doc. And then you will have the manage broadcast button, because with YouTube, you have to create or select the kind of default stream setup here, add a thumbnail, things like that. So you'll need to do that specifically for YouTube. And then we can keep your Twitch, your Trovos, your whatever over here, which none of those need specific thumbnails. So you have that option available to you. So I recommend using YouTube as the built-in OBS option. That way you can push 1440p or 4K or whatever you'd like here to YouTube in that higher quality HEVC or AV1 encoder if you have access to it. So you'd select that here, probably NVIDIA NVENC, AMD AMF, or Intel QuickSync if you're on PC, or the Apple hardware encoder here if you're on Mac. And then a bitrate relevant to that. I'll have a whole bitrate section a little bit later in the video, and we will manage your Twitch and other output bitrates separately in the RTMP plugin. So we'll go ahead and do that. I'll just move my chat over here for now. So in the RTMP plugin, we now add a new target. Now I'm going to call this Twitch, because we're going to set up Twitch as our secondary output. You will need the stream ingest URL. I will post the page to get that from in the description. Otherwise, you got to Google for it. They don't make it super easy to find, but it automatically detects which servers have the lowest ping for you. So you can just go ahead and copy that URL straight out of here, and then paste that here. You'll need to delete the part in the brackets. That is where your stream key goes. You'll need it here and here just to be safe. So go ahead and delete the brackets and the words stream key. Next, you need to go to your Twitch dashboard. So log into Twitch, go to Creator Dashboard. We need to get our stream key. We're going to go to Settings and Stream. That is the first thing here. Just copy it. If you ever show this on camera, you must reset it because anyone can stream to your channel with your stream key. So do everything you can to not show it, but should you end up having to show it, reset it as soon as possible. Now we choose the encoder. Now, if you were just streaming to Twitch with the built-in OBS settings and whatever, you could use GIF from OBS and leave it as is. However, since we're doing a separate codec to stream in a higher quality to YouTube, we want to change encoder to an H.264 equivalent encoder. Again, on PC, you've got all the different graphics card hardware encoder options, which is what I typically would use or recommend using. I'll use Apple's here. For scene, you do have the option of streaming a specific scene to another platform, but only one scene. So if you start switching scenes, it won't switch with you. I recommend just using Git from OBS because whatever you're showing in your normal OBS window is what will get sent to all platforms. Resolution. For Twitch and most other platforms, you should only be using 1080p or lower. And then I recommend, if you have the internet bandwidth, pushing the highest bitrate you can that Twitch and others support, which is just under 8 megabits per second. When you account for audio, I usually do 7,500 kilobits per second to stay safe. Now, you also have the option to enable sync start with OBS. That way, whenever you hit start streaming over here for your normal OBS stream, you can also have this automatically pick up. I like doing things manually, so I'm just going to click OK. And now we have a Twitch entry over here. So whenever we hit start streaming for YouTube, we can also start streaming to Twitch. And that is the basics of just streaming higher quality to YouTube and then your standard quality to Twitch from the same computer with OBS. That is it. I do want to take it a step further. We're going to talk about relays in a couple minutes. And with that, we'll be able to integrate relays with this plugin as well. Now, while you have access to the YouTube chat through the usual YouTube integration, you don't have your Twitch chat. So for that, you have a couple options. The primary mode would be to go to your actual Twitch channel and then pop out the chat. So we'll go to my Twitch channel here. We will click chat, click the gear icon, pop out chat. We're going to copy that URL. We're going to go back to OBS. We're going to go to docs, custom browser docs, make one called Twitch chat, paste that in there, click apply and close. It'll pop that up and load up your chat. If you want to actually send messages in it, you will need to log in through Twitch again through all this in order to make it work. But you have this that you can now dock inside along your YouTube chat and all that goodness. So that is how you would handle that. Alternatively, you could use a Relay Services combined chat option like I show with Aircast a little later in the video. The next path is to use a relay. A relay is a service that takes your video stream that you send to it and then sends it out to the multiple sites for you. This gives you the advantage of not needing to increase your bandwidth nor processing loads to simulcast. And these relays have cool chat combiner tools and other extras. But they come at a hefty cost to use, especially for smaller streamers not making money from their streams, and they don't give you the same kind of quality control per site, at least not without additional cost. My two favorite relays are Aircast and Restream. Restream has a free plan, but has some degree of watermarking or branding for the free tier, and you can only send to 2 channels with it, though that's what most people want, with Twitch and YouTube being the primary outlets. They have a chat bot and some other neat tools that you can use. Restream has the option to buy transcoding hours, which means that you can send a higher bitrate stream to Restream to use for, say, YouTube, and then squish it down for Twitch and the others using their service. But you have to pay for the hours for it, which can add up quick. You would only, it's only super viable for events or people already making a bunch of money from their stream. Aircast, on the other hand, doesn't have a free tier, but it's cheaper to operate without a watermark compared to Restream's paid plans. And it can even pull your stream from Twitch or a non-YouTube service to push it to another site, which is neat for people who don't want to change their setup at all, or for console streamers. Unfortunately, they can't pull the higher quality YouTube stream and push it to others, probably both because of YouTube delivering VP9 streams and things like that, but also because it violates YouTube's terms of service to pull streams and upload them elsewhere and that kind of thing. Let's look at how we'd set up these relays real quick. All right, now taking a look at the different relay services, we're gonna start with Aircast. So once you sign up and log in, you're taken to a page that looks like this. Over here, you can choose where your input comes from. So you actually have the ability to select a Twitch stream or a PlayStation stream or something like that as your source. If you don't want to change anything at all, you can just have it pick up your actual Twitch stream and forward it to the rest. So you just authorize it and you're good to go there. However, However, you may not want to do that because that will add extra delay and further quality degradation. You may want to stream to Aircast and have it broadcast outwards, which is kind of the primary goal. So we'll say stream with RTMP. Now this gives you an ingest URL and a stream key, just like any other RTMP-based streaming service. So we're going to copy the URL and we're going to go back to OBS. We're going to go to Settings, Stream, and instead of YouTube, we're going to choose Custom. We're going to paste that in the server, and then we are going to copy our stream key here. Again, do not show your stream key to anyone ever because they can stream to your channel. And in this case, with a relay system, all of your channels with that stream key. And if you ever show it to anyone, you got to reset it because, oh boy, that could cause a lot of trouble. And we click OK. Now, make sure you're on an encoder setup that is appropriate for a restreaming service, which is going to be H.264. And now we can start streaming to that relay service. So I'm going to go ahead and click Start Streaming. It hopefully won't lag too badly. And we can see here in just a moment, we have now come online for Aircast. Now it's not going anywhere else. You will need to add your stream outputs here. You can see here it supports a lot. Not all of these are around anymore, like Glimish, rest in peace. Or you can send to other services just based on RTMP URLs as well, which is pretty sick. So you add your different channels. You will do so using stream keys and the usual stuff from there. And then you can manually either start them all at once, or have it set to automatically start once Aircast starts detecting a stream from you. Now, Aircast also has their own chat service to combine all of your chats. So you click here for Stream Chat, and then it will ask you to authenticate with your different streaming services that you want to import your chat from. We're going to go ahead and log in here. And as you go live on these platforms, and once messages start rolling in, you can either click to see them all individually, or you can see them combined, which is really nice. Now, you can also take this, put it on something like the Elgato prompter, like we've talked about recently, if you have that, or you can embed it as a doc in OBS. You just copy the URL, go back to OBS here, docs, custom browser docs, and I already have one here called Aircast Chat. You will need to sign in with Aircast again and all of that mojo, but then you have a dockable window with all of your chats combined that you can view inside OBS. And now you're streaming with a Restreamer. Pretty sick. Next up is the relay service Restream. It functions fairly similarly to Aircast. We are logged in with a free account at the moment, however, so you come over here to connect to third-party software, and you get a stream title, category, all that good stuff, but then you get your dedicated RTMP URL and stream key. However, you can also sign into OBS with Restream, which gives you some cool stuff. So let's do that real quick. So if you go to your stream settings in OBS, Restream is actually one of the streaming services that's supported. So you can choose Connect Account, and then you'll want to sign in with your account here. You could also just sign up straight from here, but you probably need to activate your account. So that never really works very well. And upon signing in, you get some cool stuff. You already have your standard sign in or whatever, but you get a bunch of extra panels here. So you get your combined chat just automatically as a panel, so you don't have to figure that out. You can add your different channels that you want to restream to, as well as your category and stream title and things like that. And you can also choose to either update them all at once or to update them separately, which is really nice. So you can dock these wherever you want. I'm going to go ahead and close them so we can focus here, but it is really neat that the integration exists, and hopefully Aircast gets one at some point too as well. Over on the Restream side, same thing as Aircast, you add your different channels. You got YouTube, Twitch, Instagram. You got a lot of stuff more directly supported compared to Aircast, which is pretty sick. But keep in mind, again, with that free profile, you can only do 2 at once. So say Twitch and YouTube is probably what most people want. You don't want that one. But if you upgrade to their paid plans here, if you go over here to upgrade, if we go over here to the standard plan, which is all most anyone watching this video needs. You don't need these other 2 plans. You get up to 5 channels, which is pretty sick. You get to remove the watermark, and you get recorded streams on Restream itself up to 6 hours. I'm not sure how valuable that is, given every other platform is going to record your VOD, but hey, you get that available to you. It is $20 a month, though, or $16 a month if you do the annual plan. So we're going to go ahead and select that, subscribe, and now we have that plan activated. So if we come back over here, we can now add a bunch more platforms than before, like in terms of quantity. So we can go over here and add Amazon, add that URL, Twitch, all of that. And we can start setting up transcoding. So if we reconnect YouTube here real quick, now in your 3 dots menu for each output, you have a transcoding button. So this means you can send a higher bitrate to, say, YouTube, but then a lower bitrate to something like Amazon or Twitch. So you can enable auto settings based on the streaming platform you're using, or you can do it manually where you choose the profile, you choose the resolution, the bit rates, and all of that. However, this is not included purely in the paid plan. You have to specifically buy hours. So if you go on billing here, they gave me some credit. You can see here I have just under 10 hours of transcoding available. You have to buy based on hours to get transcoding. So keep all of that in mind. But they do have that combined chat app. And this is how you set it up. Now, whether you're using Aircast or Restream, I do have a little bonus tip I want to share with you. If you do have a little bit of extra upload bandwidth to work with, I still recommend setting your YouTube or your OBS streaming service to YouTube. Connect your account, do all of that. We're going to have to go through this again. And while you're streaming to YouTube through OBS, which gets you the full fat pipe using the newer codecs, the higher bit rates, all of that, you then add the Restream relay as the multiple RTMP output with the plugin here. That way you avoid having to pay for transcoding and you get a little more control. So we're going to add a new target. I'll say Aircast for this one. We're going to go get our key and paste it in real quick. And again, we'll go H.264, 1920 by 1080, close to the max bitrate for Twitch, including audio, and okay. And now we can stream the full quality to YouTube. We can get all those docs, everything together. And then we can use the Restreamer service, Aircast or Restream, to send out to all these other platforms using the same quality for those and kind of get the best of both worlds. This is the flow I usually use whenever I'm multi-streaming to like Trovo, Facebook, Amazon sometimes, whatever. That way I can send AV1 and 4K and all of that to YouTube and not have to worry about using another service to transcode or anything like that. Just really helpful.
Are you tired of being a streaming noob? Do you want to learn how to stream like a pro? Then you need the definitive guide to OBS. The ultimate masterclass for OBS Studio, the definitive guide to OBS will teach you everything you need to know to become a streaming and recording expert in no time at all. Even if your computer is a potato. To celebrate the relaunch of my definitive guide to OBS on a new amazing platform, I'm offering a special 50% discount. Use coupon code RELAUNCH at checkout.
Regarding settings, the 6 to 8 megabits per second range and H.264 is all that the non-YouTube sites will really support for now, though Twitch is slowly but surely bringing AV1 to us, I think.
Yeah, I can't tell you a timeline. We almost were announcing some of the plans at TwitchCon, but we want to work still with the OBS team to figure out what's a good strategy here. We're working closely about, but it isn't specifically just about AV1. It's about talking about the whole strategy. It would not affect the revenue share right away, of course, because these things all take time. Getting people to adopt things take time. But overall, that's an example of one of the things we're doing. You always look at what is the cost, what drives your cost, and what can you do to bring it down.
Probably next year. At that point, the settings parity will be a lot more complicated to break down, but it will mean you get higher quality on Twitch. But we're not there yet. For YouTube, you're able to produce much higher quality streams if you have the bandwidth, or relatively modern hardware. You can send HEVC, which is on all graphics cards going back to like 2015, 2016, or AV1 on the newest generation, which are higher quality and more efficient codecs for your video. You can send that to YouTube and your streams automatically get delivered in VP9 for the best codec transcodes for your viewers. But to get the best results, you want to push or upscale to 1440p or 4K for the YouTube stream, because YouTube's 1080p quality, as most of you know, is still not great. Here's my recommendations. I will say now that this update allows you to squeeze more quality for your bits that you send to YouTube, but YouTube always transcodes everything, with these streams usually to VP9. That's okay, but the usual rules of YouTube quality apply. 1080p will struggle to look good for any high detail, high action gameplay, and there's no secret trick to fixing that. Whether you're uploading a video or live streaming, YouTube does not allocate enough bitrate to their 1080p transcodes to look good to most gaming or high action creators. Instead, I highly recommend upscaling your stream to 1440p or 4K. This gives you much higher bitrate transcodes and thus higher quality to the viewers, even if you aren't playing or capturing native 1440p or 4K. You can do this right in OBS by going to Settings, Video, and then changing the output scaled resolution box to 2560 by 1440 or 3840 by 2160. You'll have to delete what's there and type it manually. Then choose Area for the scaling method. The only real downside here is that you can't use the lower latency modes for YouTube streams with 4K, but they do work with 1440p. For bit rates, I recommend streaming 3.5 to 6-ish megabits per second for 1080p 60, though again, I recommend avoiding 1080p, then 5 to 15 megabits per second for 1440p 60, and 12 to 25 megabits per second for 4K 60. Higher is better to a degree. YouTube's soft cap is around 50-ish megabits per second, but you don't have to use higher bit rates to still look good. For comparisons of how these bit rates look on stream, check my original video and testing stream VODs in the description below. The next step for multicasting is to manage your chat, alerts, and so on. For chat, as I mentioned, both Aircast and Restream have the combined chat tools so that you can easily monitor chat from all of your sites and still engage with your viewers, which is great. You can even dock them in OBS. Twitch's new multi-streaming rules state that you can't use tools to show or cross-post chat across platforms, most likely as like a moderation risk avoidance thing. They're coming for me. I'm telling you to break the rules and they're coming for me. But not being able to show it in stream when you're going to be responding to the other chats anyway is dumb, and they're not going to be able to enforce it well. So do what you want, just be mindful of the admittedly vague rules. For alerts, bad news. Neither Stream Elements nor Streamlabs have managed to catch up on demand for the past 5 years and make it easy to integrate alerts from multiple streaming services to one alert system, so it's going to be annoying. My flow for the past year or two has been to set up the same alerts theme. Specifically for me, it's the me-inspired StreamOS pack from Nerd or Die. Save a good chunk of change with EposVox at checkout with them, by the way. When logged into Stream Elements on both my Twitch and my YouTube channels in separate browser sessions. And then I just add the alert boxes as browser sources from both of those profiles to the same scene. And then I use that scene nested on any other scenes where I want alerts to show up in. Or I use the downstream keyer plugin across to have it show up across all of my scenes, which I've covered in a few videos here. It's annoying, but it definitely works. If you use text labels for recent follower names or recent tipper names or anything like that, there's no easy way to mix those different services together with these online providers. There is a fix to all of these woes, however, in the form of StreamerBot and Atom. These are tools that you run locally on your PC that connect to Twitch, YouTube, etc., and let you run your own alerts, your own text labels, that kind of thing. It is a lot more work to set up, but then you're not at all reliant on services like Streamlabs or Stream Elements, which continue to get worse every year, and you can more easily combine these services into whatever graphics you're wanting to use. It's worth the trade-off, but it is a lot of work to set up at first. I'll recommend some videos from Nutty on it, at least until I get my own posted. Nutty's a great dude. As a bonus, I wanted to quickly highlight the Atom Vertical plugin. This is released by my boy, Mr. Greggles. They have an Atom StreamBot tool that is really cool, but they released a free plugin for OBS called Vertical. Now, this doesn't actually need to be, it doesn't need to be used in vertical mode. It can be used in horizontal mode, but it's another tool that makes it really easy to stream to multiple platforms. It's available for free. If you click download, it's available for any operating system, Windows, Mac, or Linux, which is pretty cool. And I went ahead and installed it here, and it gives you this extra vertical dock. Now you can actually, like I said, set this to be horizontal, to be widescreen. So you come over here to settings, and by default, it's 1080 by 1920. This is great for streaming to Instagram or TikTok or Reddit when it supported streaming, or just making clips for your vertical format platforms. But you can also set it up to be just, if you just type in 1920 by 1080, you can also just get a whole second horizontal canvas. Now you also get this dock for your vertical scenes. And so you can make mirrored new scenes with your sources mirrored across them. And you can even link your different versions of vertical scenes to automatically be switched to whenever you switch scenes in your normal OBS, which is freaking awesome. Now, most of you will not have access to a stream key for TikTok anymore. They stopped sending them out if you want to do multi-streaming to TikTok, so you will still have to use the TikTok Live app, which is really crappy. But what you can do here is set up your vertical scenes, everything cropped, formatted, whatever, and then there is a special vertical virtual camera that you can then feed to the TikTok Live Studio app. And then I will play you this clip as an excerpt from my OBS Definitive Guide course, which you should go buy at the link in the description, that shows you how to get a virtual microphone of sorts over there as well. Okay, if you want to start streaming to TikTok, you ideally need a stream key. However, they don't usually give those out like Twitch does or YouTube anymore. Instead, they want you to use your TikTok Studio app. However, getting that is sometimes a nightmare because TikTok, I guess, is incompetent. You search for TikTok Studio, you go to download TikTok Studio, it makes me log in and takes me to my For You page. If I'm logged in and I go to Live Studio, it just refreshes my For You page.
The worst cities to live in Indiana.
Oh, shut up. Go to this link where it says TikTok/studio/login. The button does nothing. So instead, you have to go live for like 30 minutes on your phone before getting access to the app again. So I'm going to sit here while I edit my course when I'm supposed to be live, waiting on access to the Live Studio app, because it doesn't even tell you that you don't qualify for it. You just have to magically know that you're supposed to have access to the TikTok Live Studio app. All right, now they present you with a kind of setup guide, you know, a first-time run where you can set up now for beginners or import scenes and sources from other websites or other programs and stuff, and you could just go straight to go live. We'll do setup now just so I can walk you through. Here it lets you choose your microphone. So here's the thing, with any virtual camera kind of looping out, you still have to capture your audio sources independently in TikTok Studio, which is going to be annoying. I'll say that. So we're going to do mic line instrument 1 from my Audient Evo 4 here. You can see the levels. It's great that it just immediately shows you that. We're going to click next. We're going to choose our webcam. My Razer webcam has just stopped showing up for some reason, so we will just pretend this is our webcam. Next. It automatically does a speed test. Clearly, they took some notes from OBS's first time setup. It determined that despite the fact that I have gigabit fiber and it pulled incredible speeds, I'm best suited to 720p 30 at 1800 kilobits per second. Maybe not the most trustworthy. We'll say okay, and we'll go ahead and edit those settings. So in here, again, you're going to choose very similarly to how you would choose for OBS. So if you can push a high bit rate, go for it. If you have, the internet speed, again, I would not use more than 80% of your total bandwidth from your internet connection. I'm going to go max because I have it available, at which point I can do 1920 by 1080. It's weird. It's given us horizontal resolutions, even though I'm pretty sure we're going to be streaming vertically. You can choose your frame rate, 30 or 60. I do most things at 30, so we'll just leave that there. Audio bit rate, again, you want to crank that as high as possible. And here you can choose your encoder. So this is really interesting. This has been the case with TikTok Studio for a while. They support GPU, H.264, or H.265. So in my case, it's NVIDIA NVENC. It's funny, it says hard codec instead of hardware, but whatever. But they also have their own VCO and VC1. I believe VCO is H.264, VC1 is H.265. It might be fun to play around with these. These are going to run on your processor, but from my testing last year, their own encoders just run like the quality is garbage. So I'd just use NVENC H.265 if you have it available. There's no downside. Then if you want to add a delay to your stream, you can do that for like stream sniping or something. I don't think that's going to be a problem on TikTok. And here you can choose between whether you want to do landscape, as aka widescreen, or portrait vertical mode. Honestly, it doesn't matter what you choose between these in terms of, it's going to be based on your content and what you want to do. I will say, for viewership's sake, for the most part, you're going to have the best results getting people to stick around when they're swiping through their feed with portrait mode. But if you're doing gaming or something, if you want the full stream there, doing widescreen is fine. I'm going to do portrait because we're showing off the vertical plugin and doing it that way. But you could totally just virtual cam your whole widescreen scene out this way if you want. We're going to click finish. All right. This is TikTok Live Studio. This is not a full tutorial course on TikTok Live Studio because this is a course about OBS. So I'm going to not walk through most of this. But you can see here you have your vertical layout set up here. It automatically added a display capture source and my camera to our scene. And you have different scene collections for widescreen versus portrait, which is pretty cool. We're going to add a new scene. We're just going to do blank so we can add our virtual camera. There we go. Again, it automatically blank. There we go. So here It has nothing. It does give you some options to cast stuff from mobile, which is sick. But again, we're going with the ATEM vertical plugin. I'm just giving you little nuggets that you can pursue down as you get interested in these things and find out for yourself later. That's my job, right? So you can see here, we have our faux webcam vertical layout that we set up using the ATEM vertical plugin. And all we're going to do is click the vertical virtual camera button and get rid of these obnoxious backtrack buttons. That's good to go. So now we're going to add a camera. We're going to choose OBS virtual camera. YU2 is fine. We're going to say it's the foreground. Oh. We're going to say green screen. No, we don't want either of those. There we go. Yeah, don't do either of that. Although you could chroma key if you want. Default settings are fine. Why are we on landscape? What happened? That was weird. Add camera. OBS virtual cam. Add source. And then just resize it to fit your screen. Pin it. And you're good to go. You can start adding goals and doing whatever you want in that regard. But that adds your video and syncs it up to your OBS instance. And you can see here, it's basically instantaneous. From there, like I said, though, you do still need to manage your audio sources. Theoretically, you could do this with the Elgato Wave XLR, not the Go XLR, the Beacon stuff, something that provides virtual devices. But if you don't have those fancy things, I'm going to show you how to do it with the simplest piece of software for adding a virtual audio device to your system. I don't like Voicemeeter Banana or any of those other ones because they add so many devices and overhead that you end up with audio popping, crackling, other issues. But VB Cable is kind of the simplified version that just gives you one device, and this is all that you need. I'm going to go ahead and extract the installer zip and run it. VB Cable setup x64.exe is what you're going to want. Install driver. You have to run it as admin, of course. Of course. I don't actually know what the difference is in programs that can request admin mode on their own versus you having to manually do it. I don't know why some programs make you manually do it. Click install. And reboot. All right, and moving on from that, now you need to go to settings. Audio, after reopening OBS and everything, of course. Go ahead and make sure your microphone and other audio devices are set appropriately. So I'm just going to do that here real quick. Do main output and disabled for that. Actually, we're going to do main output and loop back. Apply. And then come down here to advanced monitoring device. You want to change that to cable input. And make sure disable Windows audio ducking is checked. Click apply and OK. We're going to scroll in our audio mixer here. See that going. See our music going. We have audio producing. We can enable the virtual camera, which is going to send our video output to our video program. But now we can use that audio output to copy our stream audio to another program. So in Discord, if you want to stream on Discord, do a video call, do a stage channel with video, any of that, you go to settings, voice and video. Of course, make sure you have OBS virtual camera working as your video source. But then for your audio, instead of your normal microphone, come down here and you want to choose cable output, VB cable. And then for your normal output device, you probably want whatever you're normally using. Default is fine. Now, if we test it, check 1, 2. Looks like we're not getting any sound. So we need to figure that out real quick. Come over here to your advanced audio properties. We did not turn on audio monitoring. But we haven't turned on audio monitoring for any individual device. So we want it monitor and output. Since we're monitoring to a device that is not being picked up on stream, we want monitor and output for our microphone as well as our music and any other source you want to get picked up, which means you can exclude things like alerts or something if you don't want them to know. But now it's working. Yay! We open that up. And for this one, I'm going to turn off the normal virtual camera. And instead, I'm going to turn on the vertical virtual camera from the ATEM vertical plugin I showed before. We're going to go to our blink scene here. It is not doing vertical. I think because we already had it going before, even though I turned it off. So we're going to relaunch OBS and TikTok. Okay, now it's getting a stretch. There we go. 1080p vertical, fit it back to screen. So now that's our video source. We still got to get our microphone. So I'm coming down here to the audio settings. That is the normal stream settings. We want the audio mixer settings. Primary speaker, we do not want that to go into VB cable. That might be why it was looping so much. We want to set that back. That was a mistake. For audio, we want for the input device, cable input. We're going to save. I'm actually going to relaunch this since it was using the cable output for its... And we're good to go. Now you have both audio and video that you can send out to TikTok Live with your vertical plugin or to Discord for your Discord streaming and so on. Ultimately, simulstreaming is more work up front to set up, juggle chats, and so on, but can help you more easily reach more people in the long run and to not be dependent on any particular streaming platform anymore, or have to sell your soul to gambling.
But we're going to do some gambling, for sure.
It's up to you whether you multi-stream, but this guide will, or at least should, help you along your way. If you're still struggling with the OBS side of things, I definitely recommend you check out my definitive guide to OBS course with the 50% off relaunch sale. And don't miss this video on whichever side it is about all the encoding changes that came to YouTube this year, as they'll be coming to Twitch before too long as well. Be kind, rewind.